Alright, so what is up guys, and in today's video we are going to be talking about editing software for starting off your YouTube channel, or if you already have one and you just want some new editing software and you want to make your video seem more professional and look better, and overall just again more professional, and it'll attract more viewers. So yeah, let's get right into it. Alright, so first off, I just wanted to tell you guys that these are in no particular order, but I will tell you which ones that I use personally and which ones I like better than others, and the usability and the learning curve of each one. So yeah, let's get right into it. Alright, so the first one that I'm going to say is Adobe Premiere Pro, and that is because Premiere Pro is personally the editing software that I use and I like the best, but it does probably have the steepest learning curve of all of the editing softwares that will be listed in this video. Adobe Premiere Pro requires a monthly Creative Cloud subscription, so you can either just pay 20 bucks a month just for Premiere itself, or you could pay 50 bucks a month to get all the Creative Cloud apps. That includes Premiere, After Effects, Photoshop, Audition, Animate, Illustrator, and a ton more. Those are just the ones that I personally use. Now, if you're a student, you get these for a little cheaper. It's $10 a month for the Creative Cloud photography plan. That's Photoshop and Lightroom, which I don't use Lightroom. I don't know how many people actually do, but that's obviously not going to be useful for video. What you really want to know about is it's $20 a month for students, and they get every single Adobe app there is. So that means you get Premiere and After Effects, which are both good for video editing, and then you have Audition for audio if you want to use that, and Photoshop for thumbnails. So that's the one that I would personally use. Or if you're not a student, you could just choose a single application plan, which is $20 a month like I said before, and you just choose Premiere as your application. Alright, so next on the list is Sony Vegas. Now personally, what I have on my computer is Sony Vegas 13, I believe, and Sony Vegas has a little less steep of a learning curve, and I did use that for a while, and I still use it occasionally just to switch things up a little bit. But one thing, at least in my experience with it, is that render times are a lot worse than they are with Adobe Premiere. I'm not sure exactly why, but yeah, that's just something to let you guys know ahead of time. And so Sony Vegas. Now with Sony Vegas, of course, you can buy a third-party key, which I wouldn't really trust unless you know it's from a trustworthy source and it isn't a stolen key. But to buy Sony Vegas, the cheapest version that they have listed on their website is $399, but remember that this is not a monthly subscription, and if you're paying for, say, the student plan for all the Creative Cloud applications, it's going to be like $220 a month, I believe, just for, or not a month, a year. So that's just 1 year, and so if you plan to do YouTube in the long term, maybe it is better to invest in something like Vegas Pro 13 Edit, which is a $400 variant. So that would account to about 2 years of the Creative Cloud subscription if you're a student, and it would be even more if you're not a student. So just keep that in mind when $400 sounds a lot. But there are 3 different versions of Vegas that you can get that are listed on Sony's website. We have Vegas Pro 13 Edit, which is the $400 variant that I was just talking about. We have Vegas Pro 13, which is what I own. It's $599 US. And then we have Vegas Pro 13 Suite, which is $800 US, and that includes some more visual effects and stuff like that. Now, if you're looking for an editing application that is a little less expensive than that, but is still by Sony, you can get Movie Studio 13 Platinum, which is $80. You can get Movie Studio 13 Suite, which is $140, or just Movie Studio 13, which is $50. Now, that's a pretty good price for editing software, but I personally have never used it, so I couldn't really give you my honest opinion on it, so you'd have to look up a few YouTube videos on that yourself, or just purchase it, get a free trial, whatever. Now, the last one on my list is, at least for stuff that I've used that's more professional, it's actually Blender 3D. So Blender 3D is actually a 3D modeling software that people use to make 3D YouTube intros and stuff like that. You know, those Minecraft intros you see are usually done in Blender. And Blender is a completely free application, but it also has video editing software to it, which is actually pretty cool. And again, like I said, it's completely free, so there's no price to it, but this also has a very steep learning curve, and maybe even a little more steep than Premiere, but through my experience, I think Premiere has the steepest learning curve. But I have been using it for quite a few years, so I am a lot more used to it than I am to Blender. Now, if you're looking for something that it just isn't that professional and you are on Mac, you can use iMovie. Now, iMovie is actually a pretty great editing application for $15, which is on the Mac App Store, or I believe you can buy it on Apple's website as well, but it is only on Mac computers. And it's obviously not a very professional application, but you can do some green screening stuff, and it's good for just basic edits like cuts and adding music to the background of your video. But other than that, I wouldn't really use iMovie because, again, it's not that professional of a software, but if you're looking to just cut up your video or add some background music, then it'll work just fine for you. Now, if you're on Windows, you can also use Windows Live Movie Maker, which is honestly an awful application. They really need to update this and add something, just like completely overhaul this if they want people to actually use it, because I edited some videos in this application, some of the videos on this channel in that application, and it's a nightmare trying to edit on that application. It's awful. It's only made for like montages of family photos and stuff like that. That's the only reason that I could see someone actually using that. And another option for the Mac users is Final Cut Pro. Now, Final Cut Pro is only available on Macintosh, Mac OS computers, whatever you want to call it, and it is $300. Now, that is actually pretty cheap compared to Sony Vegas, and it can do a lot more than Sony Vegas, at least through my personal experience of using it on a Mac. And the render times are fantastic because it's built for the software, and it's a software made by Apple, so it's obviously going to work well with Mac OS, and you know, it's the only software that you can use Final Cut Pro on. So yeah, Final Cut Pro is a fantastic application. I'm talking about Final Cut Pro X here, or 10, whatever you want to call it. And so that is the one that I would personally go with if you're on a Mac, and if you can't afford it, then that sucks. Just use iMovie. It's still a perfectly good application, just not as good as Final Cut Pro, Sony Vegas, or Premiere. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, please click that like button as it helps me out a great deal. And yeah, let me know what else you want to see videos on, and I'll see you next time. Bye.